Oh boy everyone, MARKCHES here. Welcome to the channel, and for today's video I'll be giving you my comparison video between these two awesome Nike performance basketball sneaker that are pretty affordable. So let's go. On my right is a Nike PG6, of course Paul George's signature sneaker, and if you haven't watched the performance review I'll be putting the link down below, while on my left is the Kyrie Low 5, which is also from the signature line of Kyrie Irving. This is the takedown model from the Kyrie Infinity 8 or the Kyrie 8 or the Kyrie Infinity. And let's compare these two, because these two are two of the most affordable sneakers out in Nike, which in terms of performance wise I really dig them. So if I'm recommending a budget sneaker from Nike, I would recommend these two. So these two sneakers are around $120 or 6,200 pesos here in the Philippines, and they are currently out now. I have this bread or black cement colorway that pays homage to, of course, Chicago, with the foam is made out and it has a texture of the black cement, while the Kyrie Low 5 is just a very clean colorway, white, canary yellow, and some salmon pink at the cushion part of the sneaker. Let's start off first, of course, with the materials of the upper. On the Kyrie Low 5, it features a very fused mesh material from the forefoot to the heel, and there's some textile material at the heel part of the sneaker, while on the side panels at the midfoot, it also has the same material in the forefoot but without the underlining fabric, which really makes the upper of the Kyrie Low 5 very thin. And they just have this extra leather here that is found on the forefoot part of the lateral side and middle part of the midfoot part of the Kyrie Low 5. While on the PG6 it has the more standard mesh, which is very soft from the forefoot. You can really see how soft it is in the forefoot, while on the side panels are the screen mesh that is more fused compared to the forefoot part. But comparing the fusedness of the uppers, of course the Kyrie feels a little bit more fused. You can hear it from all angles of the Kyrie Low 5. From the midfoot, that's the midfoot. You can see how fused that is. While on the PG6, it's a lot smoother. But on the side panels, yeah, that's where you feel the fusedness of the material. So as for the material, like I said, a way thinner material on the Kyrie Low 5, while on the PG6 it is pretty standard. But what's nice about the PG6 upper material is it's really comfy around your foot. When you wear it especially, you would immediately feel that. And I think one of the main reasons of the comfort of the PG6 is the tongue. It's a very thick tongue and it's like a blanket, while on the Kyries ain't that bad, but comparing it to the PGs, it feels like a blanket from the edge of the tongue to the top part of the tongue. It is ultra comfortable. But in terms of performance, lateral wise, as for lateral support, I would give both a very similar lateral support because of the materials are kind of the same. They're kind of soft but they don't stretch that much. On the PGs, it has the screen mesh here, plus the foam also goes up and it's a little bit lower compared to the Kyries. So even though the material is still soft, but when you're doing lateral moves, it still catches your foot. But comparing it with the Kyries, even though the lateral support of the PG6 is really nice, but in terms of responsiveness, I like the responsiveness on the lateral movements on the Kyries a little bit better because of this extra strap here. It's not just for design, it's actually stitched until the bottom part of the forefoot. If you can see this yellow part here, although it's not the same material, but it's stitched together. So when you're tightening up the laces here, it still is hugging your foot and pulling your foot going inside here. So when you're doing lateral cuts, it catches your foot really nicely, and the lateral movement is very responsive. So when you're doing lateral cuts, you can pull back your leg instantly compared to the PGs where there's a slight of delay when you're moving laterally. So it catches your foot, but it takes maybe a split second to go back compared to the Kyrie, which that I felt between the comparison between the two. So if you're into that detail, you deserve to know that. But if you just have one pair of these two, you wouldn't notice it that much. Moving on the midfoot part, of course, this screen mesh upper really hugs your foot, plus this extra strap panel here near the midfoot part, which also hugs your foot down to the footbed and gives you a better fit to the sneaker. While on the Kyries, it also has a strap on the medial part, so it kind of hugs like this diagonally instead of just horizontally. And I would say they're pretty much the same in terms of the midfoot fit of the sneaker. They're on the narrow side, but not too narrow, which is kind of surprising because on the PGs, it's usually very narrow, especially on the midfoot. And of course, also Kyries are known to be very snug sneakers, but this one, it has a lot more midfoot and forefoot space on top of your foot, which is quite surprising. And for me, a regular footer, I didn't have any problems there, especially on the fit. It wasn't choking my midfoot, which was really nice on both sneakers. Moving on to the back part of these two sneakers. These two are low cut sneakers, but the cut on the Kyries are a little bit lower, especially around the lateral part. Around the ankle bone, it's a little bit more curved compared to the PGs, which is higher a bit here in this part. While on the back part, the PGs is a little bit higher compared to the Kyries, but look at this material of the PGs. It's ultra soft, so actually it doesn't give you that much restriction here. While on the Kyries, it's a lot stiffer there. So in terms of heel restriction, the Kyries has more heel restriction, while on the PGs, the heel containment lockdown is mainly here at the bottom part of this internal plastic piece. While on the Kyries, it's up to here. The plastic piece is up to here. It's a little bit higher, it's a little bit bigger. So I would say in terms of ankle protection, I would lean more on the Kyries because of the bigger plastic piece found on the Kyries compared to the PGs, which is lower and slimmer. But one thing is the PGs is a little bit lower to the ground, so it's more stable around your heel compared to the cushion part of the Kyries. It's a lot thicker around the heel compared to the PGs. Actually, the PGs, you're sitting right below here, so you're not too high off the ground here. So that's one thing that will also factor in terms of heel stability, is the thickness of the foam. But for both, I would say heel containment lockdown are very nice. There's no heel slippage on both sneakers. But another bonus on the PGs is it's also very comfortable around your heel. This material is really thick and really soft. It's really comfortable around your heel. The Kyries, not that bad too in terms of comfort level, but this PGs is on another level in terms of comfort from the forefoot to the heel. So that's one takeaway on the PGs that will really stick in my mind, the comfort level around your foot. Now let's move on to the cushion part of these two sneakers. The Kyries has a 4-foot zoom unit that's not too big. I think it's just a bar here around the bottom of the ball of your foot. And it has a carrying phylon, which is really, really soft. I just hope that it doesn't bottom out that quick. I'm still using this. But one thing to note, I think it's kind of bottoming out because on the last time that I wore this, I actually interchanged it with another sneaker. I think it was a Jordan 36 Lows. And I felt that the forefoot part, because it has a zoom unit, it became higher compared to the heel part a bit. So when I was walking, it was kind of very flat because before it was kind of inclined a bit, lower in the forefoot and higher on the heel. So when I was walking or kind of running, I felt like my heel is lower compared to the forefoot because of course the forefoot part has zoom, so it doesn't decompress that quickly in the forefoot part. So that's one thing to consider in the Kyrie Lows. Maybe the heel will bottom out faster compared to the PGs, which has a full-length React foam. Although the full-length React foam of the PGs is a little bit lower to the ground, if you like that very responsive, low to the ground feel. And you still have a very nice impact protection and very nice subtle bounce on the cushion part. You will like the PG6, and usually React foam doesn't bottom out that quickly compared to Phylon foam. But on initial wear, I really like the cushion setup more on the Kyries because of the forefoot zoom unit. It's really bouncy in the forefoot, especially on how plush the carrying Phylon is. You can really feel the zoom unit in the forefoot on the Kyries, even though it's just a small puck, but it hits the right spot around the ball of your foot. So when you're jumping, you really feel the bounce back on the forefoot part, which feels really nice. Plus the impact protection around the heel, although it's not that thick compared to before, because as of right now, it's still a little bit thicker compared to the React foam of the PG6. So it's kind of deceiving on the looks because the React foam is thicker on the outside, but actually it's just sidewalls here. But the React foam inside is here, so it's a little bit lower compared to the Kyries. The Kyries, you're just sitting, this foam is really the thickness of the foam that you're sitting in. So it's kind of thick around the heel part of the sneaker. So if you want more impact protection, go with the Kyrie Low 5s. But if you want more court feel, go with the PG6. Now let's discuss the traction of these two sneakers. Of course, in the PG6, it has this Nike React pattern. And as for the Kyrie Low 5, it has this similar traction found on the Kyrie 8s or the Kyrie Infinities, which is, I don't know what shapes they are, but it's all over the place. But in terms of rubber compound, they're both very pliable, but the threads on the PG6 is a lot thicker, but there's a lot of blank space in between, neutral space. But on the Kyrie Lows, it's really all together. But when I was playing on a dusty floor, I didn't have problems with the Kyrie Low 5s. I actually need to wipe the PG6 a little bit more on dusty floors. So I would say in dusty settings, the Kyrie Low's traction performs a little bit better compared to the PG6. And even on a clean court, I would still grab the traction on the Kyrie Lows more because on how grippy the traction is on the Kyrie Lows, because it squeaks a lot. You stop on a dime, there's no delay, while on the PG6, because it kind of catches dust a little bit more and it doesn't stick as hard as the Kyrie Lows, but it still sticks. You won't slide on the PG6, but comparing these two, the traction on the Kyrie Lows is one of my favorites too. The traction on the Kyrie Lows is better compared to the PG6, in my opinion. As for outdoor use, I would think they're okay to be used outdoors because, especially on the Kyrie Lows, the threads are a lot and they're stick together. I think it will last outdoors, in my opinion, although it's kind of pliable, but I think it will last outdoors. And as for these two pairs also has XDR rubber, which is found on the EP version of Nike sneakers. So engineered performance for EP, so harder rubber, wider last. That's what Nike is saying. So I would say outdoor use for both are pretty okay, and especially on the PG6, the upper is very durable. Even on the Kyrie Lows, even though it's thin, it's still very durable. The ventilation, especially in the Kyrie Lows, will be good on outdoor use too. And of course, the cushion of the Kyrie Lows, it has a 4-foot zoom in it, plus a very nice impact protection around the heel. As for the weight of these two sneakers, the PG6, 411, while on the Kyries, it's 360 grams. Both US 11, 360 grams. This, like I said in my performance review, this is, I think, the lightest sneaker that is out now in Nike. correct me if I'm wrong, but it is ultra light. It's feather light because of the upper is really thin. It's made out of Phylon. Phylon is usually very light, a small zoom unit. While on the PG6, of course, React foam is a little bit heavier compared to Phylon or Krystalon. I think that's where the weight is coming from on the PG6, but still pretty light for a 411 grams sneaker. So like I said, sizing wise, regular footer, go true to size, and for wide footers, go half a size up. Two of the most affordable budget sneakers that have amazing performance from Nike. Let me know which sneaker you would choose, the Kyrie Low 5s or the PG6. Hit me a comment down below and tell me why you would choose that sneaker. So this has been MARKCHES once again. Thank you for dropping by this channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!